Yeah. I find that, society, they continue to tell us to push down our emotions, right? And not feel them. And I think that's part of the issue, a huge part of the issue.
That's the exact thing is men have a very hard time because we're taught to like toughen up, be a man, right? And it's conscious, it's collective conditioning. We're just kind of ingrained in this. For the men listening, for the women listening who are in your head, what made the switch for me was obviously knowing this is the root issue, but those suppressed emotions contain the codes, contain the nitro, contain the energy that you need to access to expand. Like expand through your mental blocks, your subconscious blocks, those all the emotions inside of you. So if you are feeling bothered by something, right? Anything, anger, frustration, anxiety, doesn't matter. Internally bothered, negative emotion, there is a up level there. If you can feel into that uncomfortable feeling, allow it to do whatever it wants to do without you getting in the way and analyzing it, which is hard to do. Like I have to teach people how to do this because it's initially hard for men and a lot of women too. But if you can learn how to do that, you will naturally expand to your higher potential without having to research and knowledge and all this stuff. There's nothing wrong with that. But your ability to go forth into the world, to access your voice, access your confidence. We're not adding confidence. We're not adding potential. We are unveiling it. And the emotions are the pathway, are the gateway to your highest potential, not through your mind, but through your emotions. And as a memory champion, as a peak performer, that was hard for me to admit, but it's the truth. The present moment gives you everything you need, like I said. So if you're in a moment of severe anxiety, the present moment is giving you everything you need, meaning that anxiety is coming up to the surface for your greatest up level. Your mind goes, no, I don't want to feel this. I need to get stuff done. I want to do this. Oh my gosh, I'm behind. Whatever it says. But that moment, this juice, as uncomfortable it is your greatest expansion. Like, you keep trying to manifest abundance and wealth and all this stuff. Well, the universe is giving you the shit, pardon my French, like that's coming up to help you expand. So then when I realized that, I'm like, whatever is in this moment is helping me. This is the juice. Even whether I feel good or bad, it's giving me what I need to feel into. And so, like you said, the present moment is so key for your expansion. I didn't want to pass on these patterns to my daughters. Like, I wanted to break generational traumas, curses, anxieties, shame, all this stuff that plagued me in previous generations. And so, realizing that I wasn't going to teach them with my mouth how to reach their potential, I was going to have to embody it myself. If I did the work internally and I embodied and integrated all these parts, dark parts of me, these suppressed parts of me, and expanded as a man, they would naturally expand because they would see me. And obviously, as a man, as a father, my role is to hold safe, grounded space for not just my wife, but my daughters, right? And their energy to allow the women to express themselves however they need to express themselves, to get things out without like putting it like the men, immediately want to stop it. They feel angry and like, stop yelling, stop doing like that's because I was wounded inside. So I have to heal that, release that stuff so that I can be emotionally safe for my daughters so that they grow up feeling safe in their nervous system to expand. So they don't have these same suppressed traumas that I did, right? So that was the role I took on and I'm still expanding in. But yeah, it's paid. I mean, kids are the greatest mirrors too. They once you have a kid, your stuff that's trapped inside is going to be loud and clear, meaning you're going to be reactive, your stuff's going to show up, and don't judge yourself, but use it as an opportunity to feel that stuff, release that stuff, heal from that stuff, and expand. From a spiritual aspect, this is a spiritual issue, not an issue, but it's very spiritually related, the emotions. So the emotions are a gateway to the spiritual realm and the gifts and the abilities, right? And understandings. Each time in our past, when we couldn't handle a moment because it was so uncomfortable, we basically fragmented ourselves. A piece of us got trapped in that past self, that past version. So over time, we become fragmented. Little pieces of us get stuck in the past. That's why, like, we're so stuck in patterns of the past, like it ripples out into the current day. Like, if I'm, for example, if I'm at my laptop and I'm 35 years old and I freeze up because I don't know, I'm so overwhelmed at my to-do list, I don't know what to do in my business. I'm freezing up not because of my to-do list. I'm freezing up because my 5-year-old self was abandoned in the supermarket one time and I got scared. I'm freezing up because also a part of me at 15 years old was scared when I was at this new school and being bullied, right? These parts of us get frozen in time in a way, and we don't have access to those parts of us. They're suppressed. So we have to learn, like, just by feeling your emotions whenever they come up allows that those past parts, you don't even have to know when it happened. Feeling it heals it, integrates it, basically allows us to process the parts of us that we didn't process years ago, decades ago, and they become integrated. That's why, like, it becomes easier and easier to expand when you feel this stuff, because you're defragging just like you're defragging a computer and bringing all these parts of you back online. When I meditate, and I don't even call it meditation, that word is really overused these days. What does it mean, right? I've learned a process of surrender where I completely lay flat. I completely relax all the muscles in my body, because that's where the tension, like the physical tensions, hold in these suppressed emotions. So the people who are anxious probably feel real tight in their neck or their gut or their chest because they're holding all this stuff in, by the way. So I every day lay flat, relax all the muscles in my body, and just surrender my mind. And it's hard to do. I teach people how to do this, but this is what releases the tensions, regulates your nervous system to handle and process this stuff like more easily. So the distinction is, instead of, when I'm laying there, instead of trying to focus on something like my breath or visuals, I like lean in to every sensation in my body. Uncomfort, tension, heaviness, pulsing, whatever it is, let it happen and let it wash over me to integrate those parts of me. So I'm like leaning into this moment right now. I'm not trying to calm down. I'm not trying to do anything. That's left brain. That's the masculine energy. If you're sitting in meditation trying to do something, trying to accomplish something, it's not going to work. You're just going to add more resistance, right? If that makes sense. You have to train that. I had to train that harmony of my right brain, my feminine, to allow stuff to be more in balance and to regulate my nervous system, which is key for overcoming anxiety and panic and anything like that.
But when it comes, like, for instance, for you being on stage, how do you train your mind in that moment not to freak out and to stay calm?
Well, you got to realize too that I'm tapping into my practice and my training of memorizing, right? So my task on the show, or whatever show I've ever been on, is to memorize something. So that's the focus, right? Where I draw myself into. And if you do it for thousands of hours, like I have, you naturally just like click into it and just let the training take over, right? But it still doesn't mean my mind doesn't go crazy. So all of the thoughts that you think you would have, I've had too. So that is a normal ego part of all of us, right? So don't think I don't have that. But understanding, and I guess to answer your question, is the normal answer is people would say, well, it just takes years of practice and I've done this before, right? But the truth is, I believe that I have a better understanding of the mind and the ego to know what it is. Like, so let's break down these thoughts for a second. When you're going on stage and you have all these freakouts, what if I fail? What if I fall? What if I faint? What if I mess up? What if I make a mistake in front of 400 million people, right? I have those thoughts too, okay? But I understand that that's my ego mind. That is not me. So much of us, like, imagine, and I'm holding two hands up for people listening. One hand is my ego, the other hand behind it is me, my awareness, my soul, myself, right? Most of us are tangled together. Like, we believe we are our thoughts. We believe the crazy thoughts we have are us. So we follow them, we react to them, we fearful of them. Understand that that ego mind is not you. Understand that for the first 7 years of your life, childhood, your brain is a sponge. Your brain is in theta. which means it's taking in everything, what your parents say, what you hear from your neighbors, your relatives, society, school, and you're forming a construct of the world to understand this world, this 3D world that we live in, right? And understand with beliefs. So everything forms really strongly in those first 7 years. The voice of your mom, the voice of your parents, the voice of your teacher becomes your ego. So what you hear over and over, now I'm 37 years old, I'm on stage, what if you fail? Don't mess up. It's the same thing as a kid listening to their parent on the playground saying, be careful, don't do that, you're going to hurt yourself. It's the same thing. We're conditioned to hear that. So that's what the voice is. It is not you. So if you can witness it and say, okay, my neurotic, crazy mind is going, it's just my ego, but I'm behind that, I'm my soul, you have a different perspective on the mind. If you're having anxiety and panic, you're so entangled with that mind that you believe everything it says to you. And then you get, like you said, you'd be on stage and you get sucked right into that voice and freak out. So understanding what the ego is huge, but then being aware of it at all times too takes practice. And no judgment too for those people who are doing those things, because I was too. And we're mainstream is taught meditation and yoga and supplements and therapy are helpful for anxiety, right? But they're really tools to maintain it, manage it, calm you down, which is not what you want if you really want to get to the root. And so there are plenty of people out there who are happy doing those things, and more power to them. But then there's people like myself who are like, I don't want to feel this way ever again. I don't want to deal with this anymore. This anxiety is crippling. This panic is crippling. And I took a different route. And that's why I found the root, because I didn't give up. I didn't listen to the doctors when they said, just take this pill, just take this med. I didn't listen to the therapy when it says, just reframe your thoughts. I mean, just be grateful. Like, all that stuff is so harmful if you're dealing with a really powerfully negative emotion. What we do as people, and everyone does this, by the way, no judgment, we try to fill the void and try to be happy using our external world. Things we see, touch, and feel. Money, relationships, car, whatever we're visualizing, trying to manifest. And I'm going to be very kind of blunt and like hopefully disruptive here for people. Those things will never make you happy internally. And here's why. Your source of happiness is a spring inside of you of happiness at all times. You were born this way. You have it at all times. Yogis have learned this, have known about this for a long time. But what happens is we get blocked. Over time, we suppress emotions, we fractalize, we fragment, suppress all this resistance inside of us that causes the anxieties, overwhelms, even like the need for alcohol, the need for money, the need for women or sex or whatever your addiction is, or productivity. It's all a mask. We're chasing it all the time. So like the moment you get something you want, like I had my biggest month ever. I made $29,000 in a month. Oh my gosh, that was amazing. But then guess what? I wanted to do it again, and I wasn't happy because I didn't do it again. Same thing with these trophies. I've got 3 national championship trophies behind me. The last one I won, and I'm being completely honest, I won my 3rd trophy. It felt amazing. And then I put the trophy on the shelf that night, and then I started to feel a void inside again. And I immediately wanted the 4th one, right? So we are always wanting more. So if you're using your world to pursue happiness, it's an illusion, it's futile. You will never sustain happiness. You will sustain happiness when you start removing these blockages, emotional blockages inside of you, so that this feeling can well up and you can be at peace and feel this at all times, regardless of whether you got the trophies or the wife or the $1 million. You will feel it regardless of what is happening in your life. And that was a shift for me. I'm not saying you can't make $29,000 and have trophies, but while you're pursuing what you desire, work on your inner world to remove these blockages, to release them for good, so that you can feel happy more and more and more instead of chasing something.
Hey guys, I would like to take a moment to introduce you to our app, Yoga Plus. You will have access to an incredible selection of videos led by top instructors in yoga, fitness, nutrition, and so much more. Download our Yoga Plus app available on iOS and Android today.